from Fistbump Media, and I'm really excited to have all you guys here today. I see a bunch of you guys starting to chat it up here in the comments a little bit, so it's fantastic. But welcome everybody to it's actually our first ever open Q&A session. Crystal Stein and I have talked a little bit about wanting to do a few things similar to this. This isn't one of our big teach you a whole bunch of things webinars, but an opportunity for everybody to kind of bring their stuff here to the table, just to ask questions. So very informal. I really have no big agenda for the day. So let me see. And I see somebody saying that there might be getting an error with the video. So let me just double check. Give me a shout out in the comments too if you can see me okay. All right, cool. I see an affirmative there. So it looks like we're starting. Probably a little bit of a delay between me and you guys here as well. So anyway, again, thanks for everybody for jumping in here, shouting out. Yeah, just a quick little set of instructions here before we get started. What I'm going to do is I'm about to open up this meeting room that I'm in right now, so we can actually several of us chat here via video. So you don't have to, but you're certainly welcome to. So I'd love to maybe have a few people jump in. We can ask questions. We can talk. Whatever's on your mind. We'll happy to take it on and see what we can do and provide answers and talk strategy, talk how-to, whatever it is, whatever you want to do. So cool. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to drop a link in the comments below, and the meeting room here can only hold 10 people, and I'm not sure exactly how many people out there. So to really be the first 10 that can jump in. One thing I will say is when you jump in, one thing you'll need to do is click the mute button on your actual video feed on the event page, because if you don't, it will get a lot of kind of feedback back and forth. Yeah, a lot of feedback back and forth here. So, so anyway, here I'm going to go drop the comment, the link to jump in. Like I said, first 10 people who want to jump in the meeting room here with me are more than welcome to do it. Okay, cool. So I'll give that a second for anybody who wants to jump in. And we'll get started. And while I'm waiting for folks to jump in, I will share something spectacular about my day today. It's not the first time, but today I had a little niece was born. So I'm going to actually screen share here for a second and show off a picture of my awesome new niece. So this is little Ellie that was just born. If you can see my screen, just born first thing this morning from the brother of my wife. So I got to actually just a couple hours ago hold her at the hospital, and love doing that. So that's very, very cool. Awesome. Cool. Got a few folks jumping in. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Yay. Cool. Melissa, and I see Holly jumping in too as well. Holly, I don't have your video feed yet, but can you hear me okay? Are you in?
Hey, Dan, what did you say we needed to mute?
Yeah, actually, I'll let me screen share that too. On the video stream that's on the event page, mute the the video player there.
Sweet. Okay, did it.
Cool. Stop my screen share. Cool. Awesome. Holland, I don't have a video of you. Are you there? Can you hear me okay?
I think there were a lot of people saying they had some delays, so it may take a few minutes for everybody to get in.
Yeah, it's. I know there's a little bit of a delay between what we do live and what is in there.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Holland's there. Awesome. Welcome, Sarah. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. Cool.
Oh, Sarah, you're a genius.
Hi.
I'm going to go get my earbuds.
Yeah, that's so I don't have to hear all my kids screaming.
I'll be right back.
All right, cool. We got Tanya in here too as well, and Andy. How you guys doing?
There's a lot of echo. I don't know if that's from other people or...
Yeah, that would be,
Okay.
try to click the mute button on the video player back on the event page. And that should take care of any echo for you.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Andy, good to see you.
Hey, Andy.
Hi.
Hi. Well,
Awesome.
I have a question to start
Yeah,
off,
I was just going to say, fire away. What questions do you have?
Okay.
Let's start.
My question is small, but it's been bugging me, and I'm wondering if my email address that I use for basically all social media now that has to do with my blog, if it should have the name of... Hi, I will. If it should have the name of my blog in the email address.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So your website is whatever.
It's called The Redemption Diary.
TheRedemptionDiary.com,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's on Blogspot, but I mean, I'm just wondering if The Redemption Diary should be in, like if it should be TheRedemptionDiary@gmail.com, or I've been using just my personal one for the past,
Gotcha.
Month or so.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny one. I think from a technical perspective, really there's no reason that has to be something like that.
Okay.
I think more from a branding perspective, yeah, it makes a lot of sense because it's going to be a lot easier for people to remember. So if you're going to a conference or something like that, and you want to give people business cards or something like that too, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense to have consistency in the names.
Okay.
Between your blog name, email address, and stuff like that too. So you can make it a lot easier for people to remember and stuff, and it does kind of set a brand for you. And I think that goes across really any of the social media platforms. If you can secure that name somehow across Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that, then that's definitely a big bonus. So.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Dan,
Yes.
I have a question. I successfully installed Discus today.
I saw it on Twitter. That's awesome.
I needed a nap after that. Let me tell you, man. But what I don't understand was those the advertisements at the bottom. Now I clicked them off because part of me was like, I don't want unnecessary advertisements on my blog because that's never really why I blog.
Right.
But part of me is wondering, like, can you control those? Should you just shut them off? How would you?
Yeah, you can't really control it as much. And actually, I use Discuss on my blog as well too, and I lead them on actually because it should have two sets of like links that will appear underneath your comments. And,
Right.
One is to other conversations going on around the web and stuff, and they try to make it as relevant as possible. I haven't seen anything too questionable or anything like that pop up in mine, but one of the other columns should be links to conversations and stuff going on your blog. Which is great because I think that's a big thing for when I think overall blog strategy. A really important thing to me is kind of the how long do I keep a visitor on the page, and how many pages are they visiting and stuff. So anytime I have an opportunity to link them to similar conversations and content and stuff, I got a better opportunity to engage them for a longer period of time. So I leave it down there because I definitely want to make sure that I've got that opportunity to share my other content. If there's something else interesting on somebody else's website that pops up, that's fine. Because I don't think they're usually ads. I think they're linked to other blog conversations and comments and stuff and discussions.
Right. I just wasn't sure what they were, and I was like, I just want.
Yeah.
All the spammers that I get too, I was just like, I want to shut it down. Like, so I did, but I can go back and add it.
Right.
Okay,
Cool.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Okay, so now with the discuss, do you think that it limits people who don't have an account with them to comment and be a part of your conversation?
No, because you should be able to leave a comment just as an anonymous guest. Just like leave a name, URL, whatever. Some of the standard stuff and everything as well. So I really like Discuss for a couple of reasons. And Tanya, I think I kind of gave you an endorsement. I've used it for years on Twitter and stuff. I don't know if I really explained why or anything like that, but a couple of reasons I use it. One is because especially back when I first started using it, there weren't a lot of commenting systems and stuff that allowed the social sharing of comments. So that was a big factor for me as well too, to make it easy to tweet comments on the blog and stuff. And that's a great thing, I think, for engagement. If you can share a comment that you think is even thoughtful and meaningful by itself, or over on a Facebook or on a Twitter or something like that too, that's just another connection point back to that conversation on your blog. One of the other reasons I like to use it a lot is the spam control. I manage a few blogs where we don't use Discuss, and constantly having to deal with spam cleanup and stuff. On my blog that I use Discuss, none.
No spam?
Yeah, it really filters out a lot of the spam comments really, really well. So.
Okay, so I also wanted to ask about the social buttons, because you were talking about having them at the bottom. Is it redundant to have them at the top and the bottom?
No, I don't think so. I think, and it's one of the things I shared in the last webinar too. I think my #1 preferred method is the floating sidebar kind of thing too, because that'll stay visible no matter what. So I think to have, if you don't do something like that, I think it's important to make sure that the visibility is still pretty high. So to have it at the top and the bottom isn't necessarily redundant. I think sometimes it could look a little cluttered depending on how you do your blog post. If you have a nice big image in there and stuff like that too, maybe towards the top of the post and stuff like that too, to really kind of break things up visually. So you don't see it within a single blog post, buttons on top and buttons on the bottom because you have really short text and that's all you got.
Right.
Then I think it's okay. So if it's a matter of scrolling down and you have buttons down there at the end as well, that's reasonable to me, I think. Awesome. That's so cool. I see a bunch of people jumping in here too. I haven't had a chance to say hi to everybody. So.
Hey, Dan, I have a question with regard to domain and names of your blog. How do you feel about blogging under like a blog name versus a blogger blogging under their name.com? Does it matter? Does it make a difference?
I like that question.
Yeah, that is a really great question, and I can tell you from a personal experience. My blog is growing to more than just my blog right now, but BibleDude.net. But for many years was just me, and now it's more of a multi-author. Chris is on too as well. Hey, Chris, he's one of our writers. Yeah. But yeah, now it's just more of a multi-author thing. But what's really interesting is, as I get around to conferences and events and things, and get to know other people, I've had people tell me that when they're talking to people about me, they say, "Oh yeah, Dan King said this, Dan King said that." And they're like, "Who are you talking? Who's this Dan King guy?" And they're like, "Bible Dude." And they're like, "Oh, Bible Dude." And then people kind of get it and make that connection. So I kind of know from personal experience that I've blogged under that name, And a lot of people tend to not then realize who I am as Dan King. So part of it, I think, to really kind of answer that question, it gets down to what are your goals as a blogger and stuff. I think if one of your goals is to to be recognized as a speaker, or writer, or something like that too, where people need to know your name, then it may be a good idea to focus more on your name than on a blog name. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly don't think that there's anything wrong with a blog name. I think with in the case of Bible Dude, for example, I think it's become a little bit more of a brand than it is just a person. And I think that's always the way I really intended it anyway. I've kind of become the Bible Dude, but I like to think of it more as I'm a Bible Dude. And even Chris, who's a dudette, is a Bible Dude. You know what I'm saying? So I've even been doing some things where I've been offering some of the writers' T-shirts that say #IamBibleDude.
Oh, cute.
It was great to see one of them come to a retreat wearing that T-shirt. It's like, yeah. So,
okay, one more question with regard to niche and blogging in your niche, so to speak. How do you feel about, or what's your thought about bloggers who sort of mix it up a lot? Like maybe you write more of a blog that's just kind of faith and encouragement and things like that, but sometimes you write about homeschooling or family or marriage and parenting. Do you think it's okay to just kind of jumble all that together in one space, or should you have multiple blogs or multiple places that you support all of that content?
Yeah, that's a really good, interesting, I think, just strategy question as far as what you want to do and what you want to accomplish as a writer. I think, especially for a personal blog, so again, even kind of looking at my example with BibleDude.net, that's just a little bit more of a personal blog. So, we get away with taking different types of angles related to faith. We have a whole section that's it's all Christianity, but we have a whole section that's really kind of devoted to conversations about serving and missions and ministry and stuff like that too. And sometimes it's very, very raw, how to do it, ministry kind of stuff, which is very different from our pray category, which focuses a lot more on creativity and worship and prayer and stuff like that. So some very different kinds of conversations going on. It still have the same kind of root and everything, but I think with a personal blog, the big thing that I see personally, and I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on this as well too, the big thing that I see personally is standing out is you. It's your personality, it's your brand, and so I think if that's a big part of your life, feel free to talk about it, because I think one thing that I would probably warn against is spreading yourself too thin as far as blogs are concerned. I think it's probably a bad idea to have 5 different blogs on 5 different topics. You know what I'm saying? When really they're all
no danger there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be exhausting.
I would never be able to keep up. Not in a million years.
No.
It's hard to just do one, and I've only been doing it for 5 weeks, and I'm like, ah!
So I've seen some bloggers who are out there, and they've got their recipe and cooking blog over here, and they've got their blogging blog, over here, and all these. But then
Okay,
but some really
Melissa,
great, yeah.
How many kids do those people have? You have 5 kids. That's something to take into consideration.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I mean, I'm good with putting all the little bits and pieces of me in one place, but I think in my mind I was thinking, okay, well, I've got some readers who are really not going to care about homeschooling, and then because my husband and I teach this marriage and parenting class, and the folks in that class subscribe, and they're just looking for hardcore tips and strategies and situations for, okay, when my kid is melting down, what can I do, and can I have a copy of your chore chart and stuff. But then there are folks who are like, well, what curriculum do you use, and they don't necessarily overlap.
Well, one of the things I can say along those lines is that's where using different kinds of categories and stuff like that too within your blog are really, really helpful. And I'm not sure, are you on Blogger or WordPress? Or
WordPress.
On WordPress? Yeah, great. Because I know this is really good and clean on WordPress, and you know, I'm not anti-Blogger, just for anybody who's on Blogger, but I am a WordPress. I am a WordPress guy to the core, though. So, and a lot of my experience is there. So, but I know especially in WordPress, that's where I use categories quite a bit, and this is something I do as well too at BibleDude.net. And this gets a little technical with exactly how to do it. Maybe I can write something up about this, a blog post or something like that, kind of mapping out some instructions for you guys. But one of the things that I do is I can leverage an RSS feed per category on my blog. So you know, like I said, with BibleDude.net, my big 3 categories are read, pray, and serve. Chris is part of our Living the Story column. But what I do is I hear a baby. I'm a baby junkie, by the way. So if you saw the picture I just shared a little while ago, my new niece that was just born today. Oh my gosh, I was in heaven holding that little baby. So let me see. So where was I? Yeah. So I can actually point to an RSS feed for a specific category on my blog. So BibleDude, I've got read, pray, serve, living the story, and other categories that I key off. But what I do too is I use MailChimp for all of my email subscriber stuff, and I can set it up there so that people can subscribe to a specific category, or on the website we call them columns. So if they want to get the cool, nice, you know, the living the story stuff, awesome praise stuff, but aren't really interested in the mission stuff that we're writing about, they don't have to subscribe to that category. So that's something it's a possibility too as well, that if you have some very diverse topics, again, it's still all you, so you can focus on that and write about that, but there's ways that you can leverage the technology and stuff to be able to give people the stuff that they want, and use menus for those categories and stuff. So this is my, you know, a drop-down menu with all my posts about homeschooling stuff, and this is all my recipes. But you can even set up email subscriptions so it works that way too.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, Crystal just dropped a comment. Rumor has it that I am the baby whisperer. Yeah. They do call me that at church. It's just when they have babies, they're crying and stuff, and they just drop them in Big Uncle Dan's arms, and yeah, just within minutes they're asleep. So awesome.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would like to know how y'all are talking and typing at the same time. Please, somebody tell me how you do this. Because I'm watching comments on my iPad fly up, and you all are talking here, and I'm like, you guys are nuts. Either that or you got some serious ninja skills like Crystal Stein.
I'm going to state for the record that as a man, I'm only capable of doing one thing at a time. So,
Go lay
to be
down.
clear, it's not me.
Talking
Go lay down, please. Thank you. What's up? You want to say what's up? Say hi.
What's up? Who's playing?
Obviously, he's not tired and he's curious as to what I'm doing, so he brought his dinosaur book in
No.
so he could. Oh, whatever. You can go lay down. Okay. Thank you. I had a question about social media and sharing your posts, and if you're linking up with someone, and how often you should be sharing, or if it's sharing overload, or we have an email, a running email, some of us who do Blogger, with questions that we've just been asking each other for the past week, and this has come up, is if you should schedule all of your posts, or if you should just do it, you know, as soon as you write it, you should just post it, and then when you feel like, you know, putting it on Twitter or whatever. So I guess I'm wondering if there's maybe a standard for how often you should share and how many people you should link up with. And I know those are a few questions in one, but yeah. So whichever one you want to answer is fine. I'm curious about that too.
Yeah. Well, and I'll throw this out there too. That there is a great book on like social media analytics and stuff called Zarella's Hierarchy of Contagiousness.
Try and spell all that for me.
That's not computing on pen and paper here.
Yeah, exactly. I've got my little notepad, Andy. I've got my notepad. So I'm trying to write all of it down.
All right, so yeah, give me a second. Like I said, I'm a man. I can only do one thing at a time.
Okay.
So I'm going to get a link to this really quick and drop it in the comments.
Go back and sit down.
All right. Gosh, I found it. All right.
Oh, that came out bad.
Okay, and boom. Oh wait, I'll put the title too, so people know what the link is for.
Okay, I think I closed the chat, so I am not seeing anything that you're typing anyways.
Well,
yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Okay.
It'll be there
Okay.
for sake later on too. Yeah, it's called Zarella's Hierarchy of Contagiousness, the science, design, and engineering of contagious ideas.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and Crystal just mentioned too buffer app. I'm definitely gonna actually hit that as well.
I have that, and I use Buffer, but I just, I don't know. Has it listed sometimes like every hour, and I know that that's ridiculous, but
Well, and here's the thing, and this is the reason I mentioned Zarella's Hierarchy of Contagiousness, because and it's a pretty quick read too. But what this guy did is he dove into all kinds of data from like massive amounts of Twitter data, for years over time, and Bitly, the link URL shortener, and like even MailChimp to understand email marketing and links and stuff and how it's worked. And he's one of those guys who have come up and figured things out, like, based on the information that I see, the best time to tweet is this, and blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that I see, and I'm always kind of iffy on the best time to tweet is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursdays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think what happens then is when everybody's tweeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursdays because somebody said that, then all of a sudden your tweet gets lost in the millions that are happening at that time. Yeah. But one of the things that I do see is that, for example, the Twitter accounts that grow the most are the ones that are scheduling and running, you ready for this? About 20 to 24 tweets per day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm being annoying at that.
So those are the accounts that are growing the fastest.
Wait, do you mean they're just tweeting 20 to 24 times, or they're actually posting their blog 20 to 24 times?
They're tweeting 20 to 24
Okay.
times.
Okay. Well, that doesn't seem that much. Then if you're having a conversation with someone, you could have 10 in a matter of 10 minutes if you're talking to somebody. So that okay.
Right.
Or you could be like me at a 5-minute Friday party and end up in Twitter jail 2 times.
I was there one time when I started using Buffer, and I scheduled a bunch, and it kicked me out of Twitter, and it was like, you're doing spam, and I was like, no, I'm not, really. So I've been there with you. I hear you. I got you. Yeah, I know all about Twitter jail.
So another thing that I'll say though too about and this I think applies to a lot of platforms, not just Twitter, but kind of using Twitter as the example, is that I hear over and over and over again from a lot of people too about not just blasting your own links all day long. Mm-hmm. So like you said, it's not linking to my blog post today 20 times. Right. That does get kind of annoying and stuff. So there's a big school of thought about curating content and sharing links to other people's stuff and things like that. What's the kind of stuff that you're looking for that's related to that? One of the things I like to try to do, and I'll be honest, I've been really bad about my own social media and stuff like that too over the last 2 weeks or so because of book launch and just kind of going crazy with that stuff. But one of the things I really like to try to do is I will use a buffer app, and I'll just tweet out a link to the post early in the day, just title of the post, new post, and the link to it and stuff. And then one of the things I like to try to do too is throw in a few links to the post, maybe 2 or 3 throughout the day, using a quote from somewhere in the post that I think says something about the content.
Right.
So just a quote with a link back to it. And I've also been popping around, also because, and I think most of you guys are too, but because I'm a faith blogger and stuff too, I'll look for short Bible verses on the same topic. I'll look for quotes on the same topic and stuff, and I'll mix some of those in. So really, if you look at my Twitter feed then for the day, I'm talking about a certain idea all throughout the day.
I
but
gotcha.
they're not all linked back to my blog. Now some of
Right.
them are, and I try to mix them up the way they even look too. So each tweet, even though it might be a link back to, some of them be a link back to the blog, still has its own kind of standalone different value and stuff like that too as well. So I try to mix some stuff up like that a little bit too, and that seems to work pretty well. When I do that kind of stuff.
So this buffer app is the first time I've ever heard of it. I do all my own tweets manually.
Yep.
And I would like to not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what I'm doing is I'm going into my profile on Twitter, for example, and saying, okay, when was the last time I tweeted? And so I'm watching the time, if it was 3 hours past, 4 hours past, and I'm thinking, okay, it's time for another tweet again. But there's got to be a way to schedule this stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to screen share her for a second too as well. I'm going to pop over to Bible Dude and show you a little bit about what I mean with buffer, because there is some stuff that's really pretty slick about it. And I forget who it was. Somebody had mentioned something about the schedule every hour. You can customize the whole schedule. So you can have different times for different days of the weeks and all that stuff. But I usually do try to set the schedule so that as I add stuff, it doesn't happen within less than an hour apart from each other. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, especially depending on the account that I'm working with and stuff too. So, but again, I'm a man, so I can only click and do one thing at a time here. Okay. So, go over to Bible Dude. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll pull up the Buffer app too. Bufferapp.com is the website. Now, let's see. I think I have.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of my clients. Basically, I've got a schedule set up, and this is for a Facebook page. And I just added stuff to that queue, so it kind of queues it up and waits for the next available time for that next post to go live. So right now, like I said, I've been horrible about some of my own Bible Dude stuff, so there's nothing in my buffer right now. I've got a schedule, and I think I'm running at least an hour, 10 hour and a half or so apart for each time all throughout the day, but that's the maximum number of scheduled posts I'll hit throughout the day as well too. But this is one of the things I really like about it too is the analytics built into it and how it tracks clicks on the link and stuff like that too. So I tweet something, that's going to show me how many retweets, how many mentions, how many clicks were on it and stuff. And because it was retweeted, what the potential reach was for it, which is my followers plus the followers of all the people retweeting it. It kind of shows you what some of those top tweets are to help you kind of get an idea of what's working and what's not. So anyway, so I'm looking at a post, okay, and I use the Chrome browser, and Chrome has a great little plugin So I get this. You guys see this up in the top bar here? That's the buffer app icon. Okay. So one of the things I can do with it is, if I'm on a blog page, and when I talk about the curating of content as well, this is one of the interesting things too. So if I'm on somebody else's blog, it's this easy for me to share it. I click on my little buffer app, it'll pull it, it'll drop the link. I say, hey, I want to share that to Twitter. Boom. Right? I can share now or add it to my buffer, and we'll go with the next scheduled time that's available. Okay. So that's out there now. But here's a really, really cool thing. When I talk about scheduling out some of those other tweets throughout the day, I find a cool quote in here. Let me see. I'm going to use this as an example. I'll probably delete it in a second anyway. I can select my text, right-click on that, buffer selected text, and it's automatically put it in quotes for me with the link back to the post. So add that up, queue it up, and send it to my buffer, and that's done. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll do in the morning then, is I'll sit here, look at the post, I'll tweet out the direct link just to the post itself, and then I'll scan it and find, okay, hey, here's a cool quote, here's a cool quote, and I'll buffer up those quotes. Even when you're working with Facebook, I can select some cool text. I can right-click on an image and buffer the image. And then when I want to send it to a Facebook page, it'll send it as an image with that quote then in the description field for that. Does that make sense? You guys with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then when I queue up my stuff, you can't see it. And let me jump back to this other one that's got some in it. If I've gone out and I found a few Bible verses that I want to tweet out today, a few just other quotes, some of the quotes that I pulled from that blog post for the day. Maybe I even have an old blog post, a similar topic, and I want to tweet a copy of that, or whatever it is. Then I can come look at my buffer, and I can just kind of drag and drop and move those pieces around to wherever I want them to go. So I can then kind of lay out that structure and order what those scheduled tweets look like for the day. So it's a pretty cool app. It makes it really easy I'm going to jump back to you guys. It makes it really easy to queue up and schedule tweets and stuff like that all throughout the day. But I will say one word too about scheduling tweets. You kind of need to stay on top of it because there's, last time I remember this, that there was a big backlash of people who were scheduling tweets throughout the day when the bombings in Boston happened. Because some of the tweets, not kind of expecting that there would be a bombing in Boston, may have come off a little insensitive towards a bombing. You know what I'm saying? And under normal circumstances, they may have been fine. But when a bombing happens and you get tweets going out and stuff, so pay attention if there's some big news that happens or something like that too as well. Just be attentive and go, you know what? I've got tweets scheduled out for the day, and I don't know, even if they're not inappropriate, is it appropriate just to schedule those and keep that conversation going? Maybe I need to cancel those scheduled tweets for the day and then just focus on talking about other things. So be sensitive, keep that kind of stuff in mind if you do any kind of scheduled tweets like that.
Huh. I never would have thought of that. Yeah, I mean, I never would have thought of, probably maybe eventually, but not right now. I just would have thought, oh, well, I'll just keep posting my stuff and, just more out of, I guess, stupidity than anything else. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Do you schedule your tweets daily or days ahead?
That's a good question. I try to do it daily, so I just kind of get up and I'll focus on that day, and I'll have my scheduled stuff kind of run throughout the day, and then I'll have other just normal interactions, stuff like that too, that I just kind of throw in the mix as well. It happens live or whatever. But yeah, I try to take a few minutes at the beginning of each day, and I do it not only for myself, but even business clients and stuff like that too as well that I work with. I'll sit down and schedule those posts and stuff for the day as well too.
I was just going downstairs.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
Dan, I have a quick question.
Tina.
I have a quick question about Google Analytics.
Yes.
So I attempted to install Google Analytics, and I think I have, but it's not tracking my past history. I broke my blog for a very short period of time installing this, and it's like, is there not another way to measure this? Because I've heard that what Blogger is telling me in their stats is like off by thousands.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I migrated somebody not too long ago from a Blogger to a WordPress blog. And it's a long story. It's not like a blog with things. It was actually more a case of he had his domain name purchased somewhere, and he called to renew it. They kind of suckered him into, buying a whole bunch more hosting time and stuff. So, so he figured, well, since he bought 2 years of hosting, he was go ahead and migrate it anyway. So, yeah, we had talked about it even after the migration, after a while, a couple months after, and he says his traffic is way down since he moved to WordPress. I'm like, what? It's actually a better experience for people, just because, again, not because of a blog or WordPress thing, but because we did some nice design work to his blog and stuff. So it actually looked a lot cooler and everything too while we're making that migration. So yeah, I've had some questions about Blogger analytics and stuff as well too. Google Analytics, really, Google Analytics pulls and tracks its stuff when the tracking code is present on the blog for it to be able to send that data to Google Analytics. So if the tracking code is not there, not existent, then it has nothing to track, so it can't really go back and say, well, here's the data from when we were.
Okay, so that UA code that I got is only from the time that I posted it until now.
Yep.
I have to go back and grab that HTML and pop it into my template.
Yes. I think if I understand the question that you're asking right. So it was there before, right?
Well, no, I had to sign up for Google Analytics, which I did, and they gave me a UA code, right? Which I had to copy and paste into the template in my blog. But then it gave me a whole HTML code. So the UA code was only like a 9-digit number. And then they gave me an HTML code, and they said, pop this in this part of your HTML code on your template. Well, I mean, I totally messed that up, and somebody I know undid that all for me. But I would like to get a more accurate reflection of what's going on my blog, I guess. Not that I want to count numbers either. So it's a real dichotomy that I'm stuck in between. Don't really want to count numbers, but I really want to know what's kind of going on. And even for me, who's thinking about redesign and thinking about purpose and goal for my blog, I want to know what are the demographics? Like, who are the people that I'm reaching on a more regular basis?
Yeah. Well, that is huge too, and I think especially as Christians, we all kind of go through that. Well, it's not about me, but come read my blog. So to think that it's like, oh, yeah, I want a whole lot of visitors, but I don't care about the numbers. It's just, it is a tricky thing. But numbers and stuff aside, because I think even with my own blogging too, I kind of got to a place where I even got frustrated with numbers for a while because I wasn't seeing the numbers that I want to see. And I had one of those kind of little conversations with God, kind of like oh God, how come the readers aren't coming? The stuff is so awesome and inspired, and it's all about you. And so you're going to send the readers, right, God? And I kind of felt like he was asking a question like, hey, would you write it even if nobody read it? And my response to that was, oh, of course, God, because it's right? Okay. So you guys can relate, okay? So I kind of gotten to a point too, anyway, with my own writing that honestly, and I think you guys probably get this, because I don't mean it in an insensitive way, but I kind of stopped caring whether or not anybody was really reading it, and I was writing it for just a deeper purpose and what I'm dealing with in life and going through an experience and stuff like that too. And I think when that happened too, I start to see a lot of things change, just even in how I communicate and how I write and how it resonated with people and stuff. But anyway, number of stuff aside, you forget all that stuff. Something like Google Analytics gives you a great deal of understanding too about your audience and what their experience is like and stuff. I think the best example I see was one of my business clients is a roofer. And we had started playing around with Facebook and stuff, and they put a lot of effort into SEO and really trying to drive, when somebody's searching for a roof in Sarasota, are we coming up #1 in search results and all that stuff. And after even experimenting and trying some things with Facebook, we saw a couple things. Google was still driving the most traffic, but we're also seeing that the average time on site and number of pages per visit was really low. And the bounce rate was really high, so they come hit the page and they leave right away. But then when we look at Facebook, Facebook was #2 as far as driving the most traffic to the website. But we also saw that average pages per visit and time on site and stuff like that too was through the roof. So we're like, wow, which kind of people do we want coming to our website? We want the Facebook people coming. But we also noticed too that when they come from mobile version of Facebook, the rates changed and they stayed less time on the site. So that kind of keys off and go, maybe we need to do stuff to make the site a little bit more mobile friendly.
Yeah.
So again, really kind of thinking about who your audience is. So we learned a lot about just how we connect with people, and that what we were doing on Facebook was really kind of drawing people in and engaging, and they want to explore and learn more about what's going on with the company and stuff. And so yeah, it can give you a lot of really great data. And even if you don't have old historic data, I think the best time to start with the Google Analytics is right now. Start tracking it now, because even in a week from now, you'll have some really great data that can help drive some good strategic decisions for how you want to move forward with your writing stuff.
Yeah, it's been tracking data for about 10 days now. So
yeah. So
I couldn't tell you what it says. Or what everything means.
Maybe
but I'll learn.
Maybe it's one of my Fistbump Media School of Google Analytics webinars.
You might. I see a future webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a fun one to do, absolutely.
So it's just an HTML code that you put in your template. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. Gah. I hate HTML. I will sit at the computer. I tried to put Discus in on my blog, and I got so mad that I was telling Andy I had to just walk away or I was going to throw the computer out the window because it was just it was frustrating me so much, and it kept saying I had like one thing off. And then I would fix it, and then it would say it was still wrong. So I would try and fix it again, and I just got so frustrated with it. So kudos to you for actually installing it and making it work.
Sarah, quick question: are you a blogger? Are you on Blogger?
Yes.
The thing that changed it for me was I couldn't install Discuss from Internet Explorer. I had to download Firefox and install it from Firefox.
Well, the problem is that when I'm when I was doing the copying and pasting from the actual Discus website, the code, and putting it into the HTML, it kept saying that there was one thing wrong. Like it was missing a slash or something like that. I don't know.
I didn't need to copy and paste any HTML.
Really?
No, nothing. I just signed up and it
put it on there.
It did. Don't ask me how it happened. All I know is that Internet Explorer would not support third party, so I had to open a different browser.
Okay, because I use Safari because I have an Apple, so or a Mac, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, you're shaking your head. No, why is that bad? Are Macs bad? What's going on?
All right, so like I said, I'm not anti-blogger.
Okay.
I'm a WordPress guy.
Right.
I'm kind of not an I guy either. So.
Oh, darn. Then you and I can't be friends anymore.
I won't.
No, Max. Yeah, we can't be friends. No, I mean, I love mine.
No, I don't either.
Wait, whoa. Somebody else doesn't like Apple either?
No. Nope.
Oh, dang. You and I can't be friends either then.
Oh, dear.
Darn it. You people. Oh. Well, you know what? This computer is the only one I have, so I'm kind of stuck with it. So I can't really just run out and buy another one. So, anyways, so Firefox is what I maybe
Try
should.
Firefox.
Okay.
See, I had it on my blog 2 weeks ago. I had it on there for like a week, and I'm on Google Chrome. Can Google Chrome and Mac, can they cohabitate together?
They can play together.
They can. That's good to know.
I'm using both. I'm on a Mac and I'm on Chrome right now. We're getting along just fine.
Oh, awesome. Yay. Okay, so maybe that's what I need to do then. I don't know. Okay, Google Chrome and Firefox, I guess,
It's
right?
one or the other.
Sarah, I'll tweet you the link that Discuss actually sent me today.
Yes.
Look that up.
If
I'll
you would
do
do
that.
that would be awesome because, yeah, I spent almost an hour yesterday trying to do it, and I had to walk away. I was saying things that I wasn't liking. I was thinking things I wasn't liking, and I had to remove myself from the situation. So that's good to know.
I needed a nap.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I installed a pin. I don't know. Andy gave me a link to install a pin it over my images on my blog, and I did it in like 10 minutes, and I was rejoicing that it only took me 10 minutes to do it.
Yes.
It felt so good to do it. So cool. Thank you.
Hey, Dan, can I ask your opinion on newsletters, sort of related to the blog? No? Not going to talk about it?
Yeah, well, let me say, Tanya, if you can, that link you're talking about from Discuss, if you want to actually drop that in the comments on the event page where this thing is playing, that would be fantastic.
I will attempt.
We'll get it done, Tanya. Don't worry.
All right, Chris, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've been reading recently. I read a blog post by, I don't know, it wasn't Danny Inney, but it was somebody who's got 10 trillion followers and everything. And they were saying newsletters are dead. Don't do them anymore. Nobody reads them. You don't get any response. And then I read another blog post. It was like the polar opposite. It was do the newsletter. It's an awesome way to connect with your readers and everything. And I personally do a newsletter. I probably have a 20% response rate, which is, whatever. People are busy.
Normal.
I kind of feel like that's okay because that's about as much response as I have time to give to those people who respond. So I feel like, well, that's a good balance. Because if they all responded, I'd be like, oh shoot, I can't write to you all. So it works out in that way. But I just, I don't know. Is there value in it? Is there not value in it? Is it just, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Some of those guys like Danny Inney and stuff like that you talk about, they may be kind of anti-email, but that's how they connect with me to tell me about all their events is through email. Right. So they may say one thing too, but watch how they get their information out. And I think on the webinar that we did last week, I might have mentioned this book as well too. But this is another great book, and it's by Tim Grahl called Your First 1,000 Copies. So as a writer, this is one of the things he really presses on too, and I've seen a lot of other data and stuff to back this up. Is the social media is the big thing. So everybody says, oh yeah, you got to tweet your stuff to all of your readers and Facebook and blah blah blah. But the data shows that Twitter and Facebook and all the social media platforms are not driving the traffic that email does, which it seems like email is so passé, but it's still the one. It's probably the most personal of all of the platforms and stuff that we can use to communicate with our readers. And it's the one that goes directly to their inbox, and I put a tweet out, well, let's see, this might be the exception because I know when I tweet, all of you guys get it every time, right? And you read it. And
Absolutely.
all right. Okay. So there might be some exceptions to the rule, but email, you get an email from me, that comes to your inbox, and but even 20%, that's like industry average for opens on an email and stuff, you know. So if you can somehow drive a little bit higher to that, you know, and you know, we do things like subject, you know, lines for emails and stuff like that as well too, to play with that. But yeah, I think email, especially for a writer, is probably one of the most critical pieces of your strategy that you can have. And actually, we haven't even announced it yet, but my next webinar that we're going to be doing, Fistbump Media School of Blog Email Subscription Management.
I'm so glad I could plug that for you.
a little commercial, I'll throw that out there right now. But watch it. Yeah, I'll be sharing some stuff about that as well. But to talk about how we can leverage email to continue to grow your list. I know, Chris, you and I have actually had some conversations too, and have done some things even with your ebook that came out, and how we're able to kind of drive some subscriptions to that as well.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some strategy to how you manage that list, whether it's people who are subscribing through your blog or some other resource and stuff, to continue to nurture it and get the right kind of content in front of them and stuff. And get them ready for your next book project and stuff that you might have coming out, or your first one if you're still working on that. But yeah, definitely. I think a key thing though too is newsletters are a little tricky. I mean, I use MailChimp for everything, and a lot of it is driven by RSS. So it's the blog content that we're creating. I create kind of a template, if you will, that gets the latest blog post plugged into it and gets sent out to subscribers. And some I do a summary list. You know, maybe it's at the end of the week for a certain list. They might get a summary of, you know, certain posts from a certain category or something like that on the blog. And then there's also throwing in things like autoresponders and stuff like that too as well. So, you know, once they've subscribed to your list, a week out they will get this email from you that you've already predetermined, no matter when they subscribe, and then a month out they'll get this one, you know. So there's ways you can use all that to do things for your readers. Does that answer the question? Does that help?
Yeah, that helps. I mean, I have another kind of piggyback question, but if you're going to cover it, I don't want to like step on your blog thing the next session.
No, that's all right. So I'll dig deep into it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, cool. Other questions? And I know I've scheduled this for an hour, and we're about at an hour here. So, but any other last questions? And I do see Andy asking, will the conversation be available later? Yes, this is actually being recorded, and they'll still be able to play.
But like all of our comments and stuff will be there too? Yep,
everything will be there.
Okay. I just had one other question. You were talking about responsive websites today. Is there, I'm on Blogger, is there a code that I can enter into my basic template to make it responsive? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's not necessarily like a, let me add the responsive code into a template or theme that I already have. I don't know of anything like that. Really, a lot of that has to do with just, I mean, it's all in the code, but it's in the code how the whole theme is really built out. So, but there are lots of templates for Blogger that are responsive and have that code built in. So.
And those are free? That's just offered on like the main Blogger, like where you pick out your template?
Some may be free, some may be premium.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, I mean, a Google search. Yeah, I've done some Google searches for some Blogger templates, and I found several free ones that are responsive and stuff as well. Do really good.
Okay. Huh. All right.
Crystal is reminding me too. add convert from FeedBurner to MailChimp to her blog Redesign. And that's one of the other things I'm going to be talking about in the email one too, is I know a lot of people use FeedBurner for email subscriptions. And I have some stuff. I'm not here to sell anybody anything too, but I've done some work for other bloggers where I've converted them from FeedBurner onto MailChimp to get a lot better control over design, things like that stuff too. But yeah, we'll be talking about that a little bit too in the email webinar. So, cool. Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, no problem. Any other last questions before we close down?
No, I'm good for right now. For the next 10 minutes, I'm awesome. So we're good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you guys, I'm here and I want to help. So if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up and say, hey, Dan, I need some help. So I'll do what I can to answer questions, and I'll try to do a lot of these kinds of things so we could just ask questions or we could talk through it and whatever. So
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank
Nice
you.
to chat with y'all.
Thank you.
Ooh.